good afternoon. It's high time I did a knife video. So I've got a big bag here with 40-ish knives in it. Now I don't have the technical means to do the typical rostrum camera tabletop view. So I thought what might be a bit different is we'll do a lucky dip. So I've got this big old Carrymore rucksack. I'm going to take my finger, not my hands, because then I'll be able to feel what I'm pulling out. I'm going to take my finger, and the first item that I touch with the tip of my finger is going to come out the bag. Actually, that's not true. I've got a couple of large unsheathed ones in here, which I think I should get out of the way first, to be honest, because otherwise we'll be in trouble. Right, actually this one is sheathed, but we'll get it out of the way because it's blocking access. Who's this? This is Anglo Arms. Anglo Arms bolo machete. I think it's the 22 inch, 21.75 or something version. There's a lot of variation in bolo machetes. From what I understand, the shorter ones with the heavier belly and quite often a bit of a curve to them, sort of reminiscent of a kukri almost, they're the agricultural ones. These longer, straighter ones, careful there, oh, these longer, straighter ones are the, they call them jungle machetes, which are basically the combat ones. Always wanted a machete. I did have a couple in the past which were just sort of old industrial ones, factories that I worked in. Machetes were used for cutting big strips of rubber coming out of machines, but they were never much good. They weren't much good. This Anglo Arms one is really nice. It's heavy. It is heavy, but they need to be honest. It's all adding to the choppability of the thing. That's about what? That's about 4mm thick all the way down. It's full tang, riveted through the handle, and quite cheap actually. Where are we? 15-20 quidish, somewhere like that. And I've seen a few videos on YouTube where people use these as a as a base for making a sword or you know, modifying or adapting somehow. They're quite popular as a sort of blank to be made into whatever you like. Right, get that one out of the way. Now there's one in particular here which I know is in danger of getting me. Where is it? I want it out of the way. Oh, I'm dicing with death just doing this. I'm going to have a look. There it is. This one's a project. It's a project that I've used a lot. I've used this a hell of a lot. Back in the days when I was dependent on wood for all of my heating and hot water, this used to live next to the burner, and it was my kindling maker. It's surprisingly light. Sorry, I keep flashing it around there. Let me hold it still so you can look at it. It is Snake brand. It's upside down there. There you go. Snake brand, whatever the hell that is. Chinese, I'm guessing. Originally, this is a makeshift handle that I've put on just for practical use purposes. You have to be a bit careful using this because it's all too easy to stab yourself in the leg. Not that I've ever done that, obviously. It's very easy to stab yourself in the leg with that, which hurts. Originally, it would have had a longer handle, and the reason it's a project is I'm going to rehandle it properly. I want to actually style it as, I don't know if you're familiar with the Japanese nata garden machete, well, garden axe kind of thing. The blade is exactly this, and they have a long handle, so I'm wondering if that's what this originally was. But I'm keeping my eye out for a nice bit of wood, so I can use. The reason I didn't cut the end off of this is so that I can keep the rat tail tang there, and make use of it in a decent long handle. Pretty soft steel. It's not that great steel. but it is so soft. When you've got this thing sitting next to the burner, just chopping your kindling for you, I just used to use a file. Just rub it each side with a file a couple of times, and that's good for chopping kindling. So right, glad that's out of the bag because that was going to hurt me. Right, I'm not going to do all 40, by the way. I'll do this in probably 2 or 3 videos. Anything else big I want out of the way? Oh yeah, there's one here. That is an 1890 something Prussian bayonet, given to me about 25 years ago by a bloke I used to work with. He just had too many. He was a bit of a collector. He had too many. He had to get rid of a few, and this was one that he was willing to get shot of so that he could clear up a bit of display space in his house. When I got it, it did have the original wooden scales on it. But I lent it to somebody. I can't remember why the hell she wanted it, but I lent it to her. And it came back minus the scales. So I don't know what happened there. But I know exactly what they look like, and there are plenty of references online. I just need the right thickness piece of wood to rescale that. I've still got one of the original bolts there. There is a second that goes through there that I'm going to need to replicate somehow. I'm not going to bother sharpening it. It is rock solid, this steel. I have taken a stone to it in the past, and it just glances straight off. It is such strong steel. Hard steel, sorry. I'm not going to bother sharpening the blade or anything. I'm just going to replace the handle. I think it's probably best to leave it as it is. It's very pitted. It's very pitted. The end has lost all of its bayonet-y stabbiness. I'm going to leave that as it is. Just keep it oiled so it doesn't get any worse, and replace the handle, replace the scales. Right, now we're really into the lucky dip. Here's my finger. And here's our first knife. Quite a boring one. Right. German army knife. This is a modern one, modern-ish one, made by Victorinox. Locking blade, so can't carry it around in the UK as an EDC. Part serrated, part straight on the blade. I don't usually go for serrated blades, but part of that is to do with the fact that you always get the serrations down here at the bottom end, which just isn't practical. Victorinox have got this one the right way round, and they've put the flat blade at the fine work control end. And the serrated one, which I find is only really much used for rope. Other than that, you're wasting your time with a serrated blade, in my opinion. That wants to be at the end, for cutting through bits of rope. So they've got that one the right way round. Most people do it backwards. Liner lock. It's got a lovely little saw on it. These Victorinox saws are fantastic. And being the German army knife, this saw is a fair bit longer actually than the one that you get on your standard Swiss army knife. So it's extremely useful. Great to have in your pocket if you're building a camp or something like that. They are really good knives. We've got the bog standard can opener and mini screwdriver, mini flathead. I think actually that's exactly the same size as on a standard Victorinox. The bottle opener and screwdriver, however, is much more substantial on one of these than on your standard Victorinox. It's thicker, it's wider, it's deeper, and it locks, which is extremely useful. It locks, and it has a nice half stop as well, so if you need a bit of extra leverage, that works well. No corkscrew, which is good. I have a love-hate relationship with the corkscrews. A Phillips, much more useful. Now, number 2, lucky dip. Oh, it's a big one. It's my Bowie knife. This one's a Nieto, which is a Spanish brand. Really nice, actually. Really nice. I'm very impressed with it. You got this nice swoopy Bowie blade with a false edge on the back. A little bit of decorative decorative firework in it. And these great big smooth brass guards. It's great for skinning. I've never done that, but it's great for skinning a large animal like a deer or an elk or something, you know. These brass guards that go over your finger, they swoosh through the... I've seen it done on a YouTube video. They swoosh through the skin. The blade obviously cuts first, and this kind of lifts it away from your hand as you work your way through. It looks like it's a really good setup. The handle, I'm a bit confused about. I think it was advertised as my Carter, but it looks very wood grainy to be my Carter to me. If you look closely at the back, you can see those laminated layers, which make me think plywood. You can see the same on that side. And if you look close up at the pattern, it doesn't look very micarta-y to me. It does sound and feel resiny. I don't know. I wonder if it's some kind of resin-infused plywood. But anyway, whatever. It's smooth as anything. It's lovely and grippy. It works. The steel is their own steel at Nieto. It's called AN58, which is a Rockwell hardness of 58. I've had this for a long time, and I've sharpened it 3 or 4 times in over a decade. Obviously as a hunting knife it hasn't had that much use, but I have used it before. I had other knives, other more suitable knives for doing jobs. I would use this one, and it's always done well. Yep, that's the Spanish Nieto. If you have a look at Nieto's knives online, they're all reasonably priced, well priced actually, and decent quality. And I think they all use that, certainly all of the stainless ones, they all use that AN58 material. Now what we got? You know what it is yet? He's out of favour, isn't he? Oops. It's my Buck 110. Never ever used this. Purely part of my collection. Every collection should have a Buck 110 because it's just such an iconic knife. Not much to say about them really. It's a folding hunting knife. In many ways, it's a smaller folding version of the Nieto that we just saw. Same kind of Bowie clip point blade. Nice heavy sturdy knife. And again, I would imagine, I've seen this one in use on videos, I would imagine this is also pretty good at taking apart large animals. Get that one back in its case. Not very cheap, very heavy. I think it's 440 steel, so nothing fancy, nothing special, but perfectly adequate. Brass bolsters, lovely solid brass bolsters. Nice dark wood, whatever that is, I'm not sure what kind of wood it is. I've never used it. I've got other knives that are far more practical. This cost quite a lot. In the US, these are really budget knives. I think they're about $30 if I remember rightly. Here in the UK, you pay 70 or 80 quid for one of these. So that's another reason not to use it. I've got more suitable knives to use. No point messing up this one. It's just part of the collection. Sheath made in Mexico. I don't know why they feel the need to point that out. Maybe they have to. Right, here we go. We're on 14 minutes, I've just noticed. So this is going to be quite a few videos. Ah, right. This is a original issued 1954 British Army knife. It's not the type with the marlin spike. If we can get a close up on the letter in there, you've got the classic oil the joints, made by J.H. Thompson Cutlery of Sheffield. And just there is the individual soldier's number stamped into it. 1954, that one. it's lost all of its spring. Although the blade is mostly intact, it hasn't been sharpened away to nothing like a lot of them have. It has lost all of its spring on the blade. But other than that, actually, the blade is in pretty good condition. Not bad at all. I've used this one a fair amount. I've stopped using it because it's obviously old. Can opener, stroke bottle opener. On these older ones, it does actually fit a cap on a bottle. The newer ones don't, and the newer one that I've got, I had to file it out a bit and resharpen it to adapt it to fit a bottle cap. But these old ones, they do both jobs. And of course, you've also got a little screwdriver on the end, little flathead, which I'm led to believe was mostly used for adjusting rifle sights. Certainly looks about that size to me. Yeah, I really like that one. That's one of my older knives. Who's next? Oh. This is a Whippy. Cheapo little Whippy knife. Stainless steel bolsters, wooden scales, and it's a scaled down buck 110 really. It was a cheapy little knife. I thought it looked nice. I bought it for the collection. I think it was about £7, something like that, not much at all. Back lock on that one. Those Whippy knives aren't bad. You tend to see them in sort of tourist resorts and places like that, you know, sort of souvenir shops. They're alright. Ah, this one. This is a Danish, yeah, Danish civil defence issue knife. Just a little pocket knife issued for civil defence. Lovely half stop. Not many of my knives have got a half stop. That's got a really nice positive half stop. And also a very strong back spring when it's in its open position. There's the Danish crown mark. Just see that? Yeah. Now you'll see that the scales on this, the fit and finish isn't that good. It comes well short there. There's a big gap on both sides. But then you wonder, you know, as a civil defence issue item, are they really that bothered about the fit and finish? Surely what you want is a nice, sturdy, safe, usable knife. And that's what this is. That's what this is. It does fine. Very strong little bail on the back. I like knives with bails. Wasn't sharp. It was blunt. Never had been sharpened. It was completely flat on the front. And I haven't bothered to sharpen it. It's not one I'm ever going to use. And now, crikey, we're on 18 minutes. Right, we'll do one more. No, we'll do two more. And then we'll do another video. OpenL Carbon number 10. One of my favourite knives and one of my most used knives. Brilliant in the kitchen and on the allotment. I prefer the carbon one to the stainless steel. I find it's easier to sharpen and I find it holds its edge better. I love OpenLs. I love traditional European knives in general. I've got a couple and I'm planning on getting plenty more. Number 10 I think means it has a 10cm blade. It's not EDCable in the UK because this collar locks the blade and it is a fair bit oversized. But a very, very, very useful knife. Brilliant for the price. I've got two OpenLs. The other one's in the bag as well. Right, this is the last knife. I like this one. See my swordfish. I think this is yeah, it is. It's a Chinesey gear bestie type job. Great novelty knife. There are so many novelty ways of opening this thing and playing around with it. It's great fun, just sitting there playing with it while you're watching TV, flicking it open and shut, doing dangerous things with it, you know, just for fun. It's a stiletto style, and it is a copy of a well-known knife. I can't remember what knife it is. I think it's an American one. It is basically a copy of a well-known American knife. It's not great quality. Plenty of rattle, plenty of play. It's got a little frame lock, and it's not a utility knife. It's not something you can use. It's just something to have a bit of fun with. And I think looking at that tip, you can sensibly deduce that this is not for carving wood. Silly knife, but I love it. It's good fun. That was going to be the last one, wasn't it? One more. Oh, okay. More a heavy duty companion. This one is in a state. It's covered in bitumen because I was using it to refelt a garage roof recently. But it's such a useful knife. I have used it on plenty of jobs like that. So I think I'm probably going to keep this one in the current condition it's in. And I'm going to buy a brand new one just to keep in the collection. Brilliant value for money. Lovely steel, Scandi grind. Mora are just exceptional. They really are, especially for the money. The Mora standard companion is a fair bit narrower than that. But you can quite happily whack away at this with a hammer and it won't damage the thing at all. Really sturdy knife, about 10 to 15 quid, something like that. Brilliant value. Clips nicely into the sheath as well. Right, I'm not going to drag any more out for now. I'm either going to do some more tomorrow or possibly a bit later this afternoon. We'll see how it goes. But that's only the beginning. There's loads more there and far more interesting than that as well. Yeah, I'll catch you later. Take care. Bye.